Hello and welcome along to the SUTV preview show. As always, Carl and I will be looking back on our last game, which was Newcastle away. We'll be catching up with Gustavo, and of course we'll be looking ahead to our game this weekend as we welcome Forest to the Lane. But Carl, let's talk about Newcastle then. And obviously we are now officially relegated as well. But that first half, impressive.
Yeah, well,
bits of play.
It's another week where you find yourself talking to people and conveying, saying how good we were. And they're all looking at you as though, is this person actually ready to be condemned as crazy? Because the results, the statistics all belie what we're actually seeing. First half, we should have been 3 up. There was some incredible play. There was, the scenes before the match where all these Brazilian flags and these wonderful Geordie supporters who are there clamouring for Guimarães to not leave for 100 million. Yet we've got a young lad who's making his 7th or 8th start who completely outplayed them. You get in at half time and it's 1-1, and you're talking to the other reporters at half time thinking, this is going to be 3 or 4. This is, what a performance. The boys are brilliant. And then it's just a turnaround in what you see. Second half was chalk and cheese.
Yeah, and of course Anel got that goal as well, and a short corner as well, which surprised me a little bit, but really tactical.
Really, really great chances. Again, technically, I've said it week on week that our players are really good and they can open up any team. And we saw it. The set piece was brilliant. Anel's scoring was brilliant. Then you saw Anel running out from that we saw week in, week out last season. He's striding out of the defence in through midfield and slipping Brighton Diaz through. We had chances where Cameron Archer, he's gone, he's gone into the box. He's taken 2 touches and the shot didn't go. And you're just thinking, the second's going to come, the third's going to come.
And we hit the crossbar as well.
Hit the crossbar.
Yeah.
It was
or the post even,
really good play. And all the Travelling Blades fans who were so vocal and brilliant must have been thinking, this is it. Yet again, we're seeing, but we're going to see a match through and we take this on. And unfortunately, I don't know how a team can go from being so good to not being in a game. I've played in teams where you've been inferior for the whole match. You're just up against a better team. But very rarely have I been in a team where you're so dominant and you're playing so well, and then you just go completely off the rails. It's really so hard to comprehend.
Yeah, and we got that feel from some Newcastle fans as well, because they came out on social media and were applauding Sheffield United for looking so great, and they were saying if you're going to play like that in the Championship next season, you're going to do all right. But obviously looking at players that did well, like our blaster again.
But they were great. And West Ford, we've conceded 5 and our keeper didn't, he didn't have a howler. He played really well. He made some big saves. You've got Jayden Bogle again having another good game. And as you say, our blaster was just outstanding. That's his level. Premiership. He's a Premiership player, and he looks so comfortable and played so well. Wonderful to see Jack Robinson come back and our blaster hand over the captaincy. But there's good performances, individual performances, but you need a team performance. I don't know how the manager and his staff can deal with that, because you're seeing everything you want first half from a team, and then it just went, and you don't go on to lose 2-1. Unfortunate. There's a complete capitulation. So, maybe the recruitment can't be as statistical based, because if these players are technically so gifted, the bit that these statistics are not showing is the mental camaraderie and the determination. So, Jamie Hoyland and Chris Wilder have a massive, massive job in the rebuild, and I hope they're trusted to know what is, Championship and Premiership football, what the mentality is needed, because signing a player is not merely statistical.
And I know you mentioned Wes there as well. I mean, his performances the past couple of games since he's come back have been outstanding again, and big saves.
Yeah, huge saves. You can't fault him. He's done really well, and that it's the spine. You need your spine that you can count on. Your goalkeeper, your centre halves, your centre midfielder, and your central striker. You need to be able to depend on them, and most importantly, you need them on the field. So Chris has mentioned this. A lot of our key players have missed a lot of time, and that's going to be something I think they're going to focus on in the close season, how to get the boys physically ready for the full season and to be in tip-top condition, and how to keep them off the injury table.
I know Chris spoke quite openly after in the post-match after Newcastle, and he was speaking about needing. You can just see them missing them leadership people in the team. Obviously, we've got Arblaster stepping up at the minute, but with Robbo that's been out, they're just missing them key leadership players.
Yeah, and it's easy to say here that, you know, when the going gets tough, you all bind together. We're talking about exceptional football players, and our boys they're technically really gifted. I just think, you know, Chris is going to be looking for certain attributes that when the going is tough, you know, you can always lose a match, of course, but by 2, you know, 2-1 or whatever, to keep folding. We're 97 goals now we've conceded, and the likes of me saying, oh, well, this was good. At the end of the day, you've conceded 97 goals. So defensively, not just saying the defence, but as a team, defensively, we just weren't right, were we? It was clear for everyone to see, and whether that's a naivety going into the season thinking we can attack, as we did in the Championship, you know, not signing your Tommy Doyles who have great defensive mentality. Maybe that was it. Maybe there's like a gun-honess of wanting to take the fight to the Premiership, and maybe next time a more pragmatic introduction like Chris did in this first thing, where you're so solid at the back and as a team that you can then springboard. Instead, it's like, well, we're going to make ourselves 4 or 5 chances and let you have a few. But the other teams have been more clinical. We've made our chances, and going forward we're great. But if you're not taking your chances and you're still open, I think we've all learned it can be a very long, painful season.
No, and also mentioning just another thing Chris said as well. He said that next season it's going to be 100% different, and the fans won't be wanting to leave the stadium. I think hearing that from the manager is just so important.
Of course, and you know the manager knows what he wants, the DNA of the players that he wants, and performances he wants. The head of recruitment and the chief scout, they know what they want. So hopefully they'll be backed, and they can bring in the players that they want, and because it's them who's ultimately judged. You know, we've seen that Hecky wanted his players, the players he got maybe not his first choice, and that ultimately he's lost his job. So I'm hoping the manager, we know we can trust the manager, he's being put in the position because we trust him. I hope he gets the full backing and the backing early to do the wheeler dealing that he sees right. You know, some players may not fit his DNA that he wants, and I hope he's allowed to exercise the changes that he deems are needed, because they are needed.
No, definitely. Well, let's hear from one of the players now. It's Gustavo.
It's been a difficult week for Sheffield United. Just give us your reaction to confirmation, really, that Sheffield United are in the Championship next season.
I mean, mixed feelings, of course. It's disappointed that we got relegated as a team. But at the other end, we know where we stand at the moment. We didn't want to get relegated, of course, and we fought as hard as we can. But now we have to focus for the last 3 games and focus for the next season, what we want to do. And of course, we want to go back up, because this club, I think, in my opinion, belongs in the Premier League. So yeah, we'll do everything in our power we can do next season. But now we want to finish this season first in a good way for the fans and for the club.
The writing seems to have been on the wall for some time. How difficult has it been to cope with the last few weeks?
To be fair, not too bad in my opinion. Again, because the last time I did an interview, I said like we have to see everything as a final, and we did. We've been good in games. We have been a good unit, a good team. So it's disappointed that we got relegated, but we have shown the Premier League what we can do, and we've shown the world that Sheffield United, in my opinion, again belongs there, and that we probably deserve more sometimes, but we didn't got it, and that's something to learn from. And I think this year has been a good learning year.
Talking of deserving more, the first half against Newcastle, you could have been what, three up at half time? Yeah,
exactly. I agree. We played really well, played good football there, and then we didn't get our chance. And you know how football goes. If you don't score them, the other team will the other team will do, and that will happen against Newcastle. But that happened again against Man United. You got 1-0 up, 1-1, and then 2-1 up. And I think at Old Trafford, if you got 2-1 up, you scored at 2. Normally, it's a tough one there. So if you get the lead at Old Trafford, you have to keep it, and we didn't do that, and we did like multiple times this season.
How do you reflect on the season? It's been difficult. You know what the failings have been. Where would you pin the main reason for relegation?
Ourselves, I would say. We just give 2 easy goals away, and that starts from the front, the press that goes through midfield, goes through the back, and ends in the back of the net. Of course, it sounds very simple, but that's how it goes. And I think defensively, we have learned a lot this season. We've learned to work hard, but sometimes working hard is not good enough, and sometimes we just need that composure with the ball and don't lose and don't go into the ricochets and stuff like that. So yeah, I think we can blame it on ourselves, of course, and that sounds easy, but again, we learned from it and we will learn from it again.
What about your own form this season, your first taste of Premier League football? How do you think you adjusted over the course of the season?
Well, yeah, first year in the Premier League for me, first time ever. So, yeah, it's a brilliant experience, and you want to stay in the Premier League as a team, as a club. And of course, it's unfortunate that we have to go back to the Championship. But for me, I think for the first time in the Premier League, I had a decent season. But again, as a team and as myself, it's not good enough.
Picking out a personal highlight, would that be that first Premier League goal against Nottingham Forest back in August? Yeah,
it's not bad to show yourself in the first game you play in the Premier League and score a goal like that. So I think that's my personal goal of the season. I didn't got many, but the ones I scored, I think they were the best one.
Did you know what you were going to do as soon as you received the ball on the edge of the box?
Yeah, it's a bit of intuition, of course, but sometimes when you get the ball, you just don't think and just do it. And I got the ball, and the only thing I saw was the goal, and I just bent it around and over everyone.
So Forest again this weekend. What are you expecting? They're battling for their lives.
Yeah, they're battling. They are in the position we were a couple of weeks ago. They're fighting for their position in the Premier League, so we know what they will come with. They will come with power. They will come with intelligence from Gibbs White and players like that. So they will come with their best, and we have to for ourselves, especially at home, we have to give everything we can to hold them on the position, and we just need to, for ourselves again and for the fans, to work hard and to get the points and stay with the points so we can end the season well.
I'm at Sheffield United, joined by Vinicius Souza, and we're going to be looking at Brazilian midfielders. But before we do, I want you guys to leave in the comments below who you think is the greatest ever Brazilian Premier League player.
Wow, everybody is so good. Everyone is so good.
Fernandinho, oh, what a strike! Fabulous by Fernandinho.
Up first, Fernandinho.
Fernandinho is the best player for me in the Brazilian midfield in Premier League the all time. For this position, the Fernandinho, the mentality.
Yeah.
I think he's the best.
He's quite quick as well.
No, but he's more.
It's more than mine.
Yeah,
but if you and him had a race, who do you think would win? Him? Don't back yourself on that one. No. Oh. So up next, Douglas Luiz.
And Douglas Luiz for Aston Villa.
Wow, Douglas Luiz is an amazing player. He's not like tackler, but when he has the ball, he's so good. I see Douglas when we were young in Brazil, and now he's very, very good player in the best teams in the Premier League.
Have you ever played together before?
No, against.
Just against?
Yeah, it's derby.
Yeah, is he quite a tough opponent?
Yeah.
Yeah, very much so. Our next one, Casemiro.
you know, for me, he's the best player in the world.
He is arguably the best pivot player in the Premier League. Do you kind of base your game off his style of play?
Yeah, definitely. For me, Casemiro, all my life I see like this because Casemiro for me is the best midfield in the world. He's the best in the tackle, in everything. Okay, I like Rodri also, but Rodri with the ball.
And now it's Rodri, and finally it's 1-1.
But when in the position, when he tackles, in the strong guy, I think Casemiro is the best.
Very, very strong. Would you like to battle him?
Yeah, I try.
You try? You try, I like it. Who do you think's stronger, him or you?
No, he of course.
Guimaraes coming around the back, that is a majestic set-piece goal.
Bruno Guimarães is an amazing player, you know. He came to Lyon first in the French, he played so good the first year, then he came too early to Newcastle and he plays so good again, you know. He keep going like this in national team. I'm proud for him because he's so good guy and he's an unbelievable player. We have the same staff, we have the same performance.
Yeah.
The guy before the game.
Giving you tips and
when I go
tactics.
Yes, like
I like it.
We do class every day. And the Bruno do the same to me, the same stuff. And the guy say, no, Vini, you need to do this.
Do this.
Like Bruno, say, wow, okay, I try.
You try.
Yes.
Try very well though.
I try everything.
Van Persie challenges. Arsenal are level, and their first goal at the Emirates Stadium is scored by
Gilberto Silva, legend, doesn't obviously play anymore, but is he someone you watched growing up?
Yeah, it's crazy because, I don't know, some years ago I watched him. He's not strong in nothing, but he kill you like so quick. He's a legend in Brazil. When I'm young, I watched the national team. He play all games, you know. In the World Cup, he win the World Cup, and so good midfielder.
It's a lovely cross. It's a lovely goal. Gilberto Silva with the volley.
You could pick one of them out of the ones we've just listed. Who would be your favourite?
Casemiro.
Casemiro. It's got to be, hasn't it? Yeah.
In from Rashford. Fernandes is there. It's Casemiro.
Right, Cole. So moving on to the weekend then, we host Forest at Bramall Lane. Obviously, they've got a chance of staying up and they're going to be coming out all guns blazing. And then 3 points for them is going to be so important. But we're not giving up. We're here to play.
Oh, it's Nottingham Forest. Our local rivals. You know, it's not a Sheffield derby or a Yorkshire derby, but they're fierce rivals. We've always had an intense rivalry with them, and they're very, very good games normally, very, very passionate. And we need that. Our players need to get over the passion. We're relegated. There's still everything to play for. There's the fans who have paid season tickets. There's fans who live for each match. And the boys' careers, you know, you've just had a relegation. The manager's making a rebuild. There's not many players who it's going to be simple for them to just leave Sheffield United if they want to leave themselves because they feel they can play at a better level, or if the manager wants to rebuild and have them not part of it. You have to perform. You know, I've been on that end where the manager says, well, you're not going to be part of the next rebuild. You still have to play your very best because you want the best for yourselves. So there's so much to play for, and it's Nottingham Forest. You know, we always have ding-dong battles. The last time we played them, playoffs, and they managed to go up, and there were horrible scenes. So the passion's there. The boys have got so much to play for out of pride, and we need to cheer. We need to win. We need to go out with a little bit of optimism, you know, because you're playing at Bramall Lane and there's going to be 30,000 people there. It can't just dwindle out. It would be terrible. The manager won't allow it to dwindle out, and the players have still got a lot to prove.
And obviously one player we know quite well for them is Morgan Gibbs-White as well, and he's captain for them at the minute and doing pretty well. And obviously what sort of reception do you think he'll get coming out as captain? He'll
get a lot of respect. You know, he did incredibly well for us. I think for me the last 2 or 3 years is how well our loan signings have actually fought for the cause. You know, if you look at the players we've had Tommy Doyle, we've had Morgan Gibbs-White, we've had James McAtee. These are flair players who, when the going gets tough, they haven't shirked it like, oh, we're on loan. You lot do the hard bit. We're here for the glamour. Morgan Gibbs-White gave his everything for us, and he played incredibly well. And on the back of that, he got the recognition. Our fans adored him. You know, all this stuff, never fall in love with a loan signing. We've done it many times, and I think he'll get the reception before the match that he deserves. And then I'm expecting him to get a hostile reception during the match. That's it. He's a Forest player who's looking to take points of us. But yeah, it's nice to see how his career's gone. You know, he has progressed, and he should give a lot of the players who played in the teams around him, you know, the things that if you work your socks off and you do perform, you get the recognition, because he's been linked to the very top now.
And obviously talking about our squad as well, Robbo might be captain again at the weekend and lead our team back out of Bramley.
Yeah, it's been great to see him come back. He has been missed. He does provide the steel that we lack, and not just, you know, you can't just have a Robbo. You need a number of players playing at the same level as Robbo, but he can't do any more. You know, he's come this season where I think at the start of the season the fans were expecting more from other defenders, and didn't think Robbo was going to be as significant as he is. And I think he's proved to everybody that, you know, he's a real top player. His actual playing ability is brilliant. His mentality is unquestionable, and it's great. And the young captain stand-in has done perfect, hasn't he? You know, Arblaster, you couldn't ask for any more from him. And just looking forward to, I will say, anyone who gets a chance, try and get to, you know, telling my kids they must watch him, as I did when we had Illiman here and as we had Gibbs-White, because he's an outstanding talent. So enjoy watching him.
He is. He's going to be a big Blade star, he is. And one player we won't see for the rest of the season as well is Ollie McBurney. Obviously, big miss as well for the last few games.
A huge miss, and it's been, you know, for the last 2 seasons, unfortunately, he's had his injury problems. And he is a key player, and it's been such a shame, because if he consistently played, if he played 30, 36 games, 38 games this season, I believe our performances, because he adds going forward, he adds when he's defending, and that's, the manager's said it many times this season, we need to be able to pick our strongest teams and not have the strongest teams, and it's no fault of McBurney. It's not like he wants to get injured, or Brewster wants to be injured, or Baldock wants to be injured. It's just a fact that, unfortunately, a lot of our key players, and John Egan, our captain, has been injured. We need our key players for the manager to be able to pick, and then we have a good chance.
And their last game as well of the season for Forest is Burnley as well. They won't be wanting to leave that to that last game, because it's going to be so tight between them two.
Of course, they're coming here to win. They're going to give their all. It's going to be a real tough match, and our players are going to have to stand up to this, because Forest are physical. They've got a mental strength as well, and they're going to be very strong and direct. And, you know, this is a real challenge. You're not going to go there and tip-tap past this team. You've got to be up for the battle. So the team that Chris puts out are going to be the people who he believes are the strongest mentally and physically.
No, well, thank you, Carl. Well, that's all we've got time for today on this SUTV preview show. But please do join us next week when we look ahead to our last game away of the season, which is Everton. We'll see you then.